Alrighty, folks, let's see here. We're going to take a look at setting up Lorem Ipsum. We're just going to use Lorem Ipsum here. We're going to set this up. I'm going to close that because it's really distracting. And then I'm going to teach you how to set up stuff in your Google Docs. Alrighty, so I don't know why this Lorem Ipsum has all sorts of weird ass. Okay, you know, I'm going to get that from somewhere else because this has all sorts of weird ass stuff that I do not like. Ipsum, copy paste. Give me text somewhere. I don't give a shit what. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Alright. Okay, so all these line breaks need to go away. Okay, so first thing we got here is if you want line breaks, go up here to line spacing, add space after paragraph. That gives you all your little line breaks there. Never ever enter line break. If you're gonna do something like that, if you want something like that, if you want big space for whatever reason, that is when you make these tags. You bold it, you make it big and visible, and then you say line break or something like that. You give your layout person information there. It will really fuck stuff up if you try to do it on your own when they're transferring it into InDesign or whatever program they are using. Okay, let's look at header hierarchies. Generally, this is going to change dependent on your situation. Most of the time, your very first thing is going to be header 1. That might get weird in anthologies where header 1 might be the initial post, and then header 2 is where everyone starts. It doesn't really matter for you as long as you're doing them in proper order. And headers, beyond helping with transferring into InDesign properly, also help with screen readers if that's a thing that functionality is provided. When I do mine, this is all purely optional. I choose one of these handy dandy Google fonts just to make it easier for me to see the difference. I tend to focus on impact because it's very obvious, but you can use whatever you want here. If there's a font in Google Docs, and you can always add more fonts right here. There's a font in Google Docs where you feel like it fits the theme, use that just to keep yourself in play. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the font that's going to be used by the layout person. But let's say, okay, you know what, I'm going to make my heading 1 size 30 and permanent marker. And then we're going to say heading 1, update heading 1 to match. Alright, so I'm going to do heading 1, wait. That was not what it was supposed to do. 30, permanent marker, update heading to match. There we go. But that's not. I want this to be normal text. Alright, so now I'm at heading 1 and I say game title or whatever. And then, yeah, so you go through and set that up. Usually what I do in this case is then I make heading 2. And then I make that 1 down, so it's 30, so we'll say 24, permanent marker, that's heading 2, and then heading 3, that is permanent marker, and then we'll say that was 30, 24, so we'll say that's 18, update that. You can keep going. If it starts to get small, I shift my colors a little bit. I'll go grayscale for heading 4 or 5. That's fine. So the important thing is that there's always a hierarchy. Header 1, if anything is under header 1, it is heading 2. If anything is under, like, a subsection of heading 2, it is heading 3. So on and so forth. If it ever steps back out, it might restart at header 1, it might restart at header 2. That all depends on, you see, I'm going to point it out over here because it's currently off screen because my monitor is huge. But I'm going to drag it over here. Okay, I'm going to put it back. So you see how this kind of goes down? That's the hierarchy you're looking at over here. So if you have something that is not a part of heading 2, but is, or not a part under heading 2, like it's not a part of heading 2, but it is still a part of heading 1, you would head back out to heading 2. If you have an entirely new section, you head back out to header 1. And how that also makes things important is... where are you over here? Alright. Is also, your layout person will generally go through and do all of the heading design work before they start working on the document. They'll get a theme figured out. They'll get all that set up. So if your heading structure is off, you're going to get inconcise headings. If they change it up, if they add, like, make one look different from the other, that's going to be super obvious. They're going to pull their hair out. They're going to throw things at you. They're going to light you on fire. It's going to be no good. So just don't do it. Yeah, they're like, Francita will fly to your house and murder you. It's true. Alright, and then every once in a while, like I mentioned to in chat earlier, every once in a while you're going to be playing stuff around, you're going to be shifting stuff around, and you're going to lose line breaks. Every once in a while I just Control A, add space after paragraph, that gets everything back on state. Okay, so, other things to figure out here. Let's say you have a list. Now, we all know Google Docs. Google Docs got some cool stuff, right? Where you can take this list. I'm going to turn this sentence into a list. And you can do cool things, like you can go right up here, you can highlight all this, and go right up here. You can click the bullet point or the numbered list, and it makes it for you, right? No! No, you can't see me because my camera wouldn't work while I was talking to Francita, who was listening to all of this. But you don't want to do that. I'm shaking my finger at you like you're a bad dog. No. What you do here is make. I've been playing around a few different ways, but I feel like this is the best. Started to do 3 brackets in bold, and then in all caps, start list. In that case, you took numbered list if you want it to be numbered. Give them whatever information they need. And then at the end, bold, 3 brackets, end list. 3 brackets. So it's very obvious to them because they're not reading your game while they're doing layout. They got 3-4 days to put 12 games into a book. They don't give a shit what your game says. They're just trying to get it in there and make it look pretty. Alright? So you need to be able to very clear in your instructions. But the problem is when they download the file and transfer it into InDesign or whatever program they're using, while the heading structures transfer over, stuff like these lists do not. So if there's no indication that you're gonna need a list. Best case scenario is you just won't get one because it doesn't transfer in and they don't know to put one there. Worst case scenario is something weird happens because of the list data being there, even though it's not transferring over. Your document explodes, kills your layout designer. It's terrible. Don't do it. Alright, other thing here. Anytime you know that you have a specific piece of art coming, but you're not sure, you have an idea where you want it, you can also use those tags to be like, put art here. Need to make that bold. You'll need to put if there's more than one art, you'll need to put a name, title, some description of it. They don't know character terms, they don't know racial terms, they don't know your game, so don't put art of the Dogadons here. They don't know what the fuck a Dogadon is. Like, you need to figure out the art title. Put that in there. So yeah. So yeah, there is a naming convention that is in the art folder. At the very least, you can go in there. If you know who's doing the art and everything, you should be able to get close. Otherwise, you can wait and update that at the end when you know what the art is called. But yeah, just if you say put art here and there's more than one art, they don't know what art to put there. Also, there are other elements. They will try to accommodate you. There is no promises. The art that you want put there might look cool in your head, but trust me, these people are better at what they do than we are. I have been proven that time and time again in asking Francita to try something else and being like, no, you were right the first time, just don't listen to me ever again. So they will try to accommodate you, but ultimately their decision will probably be better. Same thing with like end page here. If you want like a big line break, if you want to make sure there's an end there, don't do the line break, just put end page here. And then, even though it seems fairly self-explanatory, I try to make things as simple as possible, and then put start page, new page. Alright, what else here? Okay, so we have tables. Tables are a series of tabs. I'm going to go ahead and double check, because we do have this information online, but I don't remember. Setting up your document. Okay, example tables. Let me double check there's no weird thing that goes on with the header. Okay, so in this case you're going to say column, and then so this is going to be in bold probably, because these are going to be the title of the header column, the header row. Column 1, tab. Column 2, tab. Column 3, tab. Column 4, tab. Now I'm saying tab because that's important. When they copy pasta this into a table, the tabs actually shift cells so that they can copy paste this in. So if I go 1 here, tab, this is going to put it in column 2. If I don't want anything in column 2, I tab again and I put 4. So what this is going to look like is 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. What this is going to look like is column 1. Oh, that should be bold. Column 2. Column 3. Column 4. 1. Skip this column 4. So that's how you use tabs for tables. Never do this. This will not translate well. Again, the best case scenario is your layout person does not know that this is a table. The other thing is to clearly label with our handy dandy brackets here. This is a table with 7 rows and 3 columns, or whatever those numbers are. Let them know ahead of time, get that figured out, and then at the end you end table. If you have a repeating element, like you're going to say, make sure you add this sort of graphic or whatever, or add this sort of spacing, or, you know, do this on and repeat every time, you need to put that. You need to put, like, add divider.png, or whatever the fuck it's called, here, or something like that. And you can't say add divider.png after every spell. They don't know what a spell is. There has been times where it's come up and Francine has been like, do you think this is a spell or is this starting a new thing? Like, they don't know your game. You need to be clear. So if you have multiple add divider.png or whatever the hell it is, make sure this looks this way. You need to make sure you do that in every instance where it is, not just a single rule expecting them to understand every time you want it to do that. You need to do it everywhere that it is required. There will be weird things, and in that case, you can feel free to ask Francita or whoever's doing layout at the time. Generally, at the moment, it's going to be Francita. I've had to do that a few times. Maybe we don't know, but that'll give them a heads up that you can try something, you can play around with it, and then they'll know to look for it in the future. Francita, is there any other weirdness that you've run across? And they can't actually hear what you're saying. I don't have computer audio on. So, you know, oh, wow, that was mean. I can't believe you said that about that person. Wow. Oh, that's rough. No, I'm just kidding. But is there anything else that you've come across that you want me to cover here? And you're muted right now, in case you didn't know that. Yeah. 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 Okay, so that was just a reiterating doing. One sec. That was just reiterating, making sure you do the tables that we just went over. That way, the tables have been a big pain in the butt when not done correctly, and that has happened not infrequently. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the other thing that we kind of touched upon. We didn't go too specifically in. When I said anything you want, make sure you include tags so that they know. If you have a specific type of formatting or appearance or theme you want to go with that isn't going to be readily available and that you want to make sure happens, put that in the notes. If you want something to be formatted like a script or an email or a text message or something like that, put that in there. Just be like, this section as a text message conversation. Then you'd have text blah 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 blah, and then it would be like, and a text message conversation. Literally anything. If you are going to suggest fonts, which you're more than welcome to do, and you would again do that up in the beginning, you'd say use this font, make sure that it is commercially available. Make sure that we are allowed to use it in commercial products. If you don't know how to do that, you can basically most fonts you download are going to have a licensing information. If you're not certain, don't ask us to use it. I mean, we're still small potatoes, and that'll be an issue, but technically we could get dinged if we're using commercial fonts for no reason, without paying for it and without paying for licensing. So just don't do it. But if you can confirm that a font is free to use and you really want to use that font, drop it in there, let them know. They can get it. If it's able to be used, chances are good it's freely available, so they can find it if need be. If you want to make it super easy, you can provide a link for them there. That's one thing I wanted to check with because it came up in my last game, Francita. Links, like when I had you link to Elendril's Treat. If I just do the standard text and then add a link in Google Doc, will that transfer over, or how is the best way for us to... Okay. Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure. So yeah, if you want to link anything for the PDF, remember that a PDF is not... that links won't work in print, obviously. Games Digest 2. So if you do a link like that, that should just transfer over, as far as Francita is aware. So you don't need to do anything terrible with tags on links. But yeah, any kind of formatting, horizontal rule. I don't know how to spell, but that's a thing. I don't know how to spell that. Horizontal, it's a hard word. There we go. That's where the O is. Horizontal rule. Anything. Just make sure you throw tags in. Make sure you're getting your heading structure properly set up. Make sure your columns are doing correctly. Make sure you're adding lists properly. I think that's it. We're going to call that here. If I need to add anything else in, I will edit it in later. Alright, so hopefully that helps. Peace, love, dope.